No matter how good of a system you run here, something's going to break. It just has to. It's normal. It's expected, right? Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, because every time it happens, it's a learning lesson and a learning opportunity, right? Up until now, we've done the forwards and the backward motion building. Now we just have to learn how to debug without spiraling and going off track, because the system that you set up is fundamentally good. But like with anything else in life, there can be a hiccup, a small bump in the road. And our goal is to stay calm and collected and build a good system for debugging. And for that purpose, I'm going to teach you my 4x4 framework, as I call it. So 4 ways to debug. Try one of each, right? That's the recipe. And let's start from the easiest one, right? Which is clicking on this try to fix button. For me, the biggest problem was actually introducing a bug. I had to ask Lovable to do it. It refused to do so. Then I asked it to introduce a runtime error, and it did, right? So with this system, you're actually going to have a hard time even having bugs, but when you do, this is how they will show up. Lovable oftentimes knows that there's a problem, right? And you can know what the problem is by clicking on the logs, right? Like this. Now, same as with anything before, when I first got a notice of these bugs and saw them for the first time in my life, I would copy them, go to ChatGPT or go to Lovable and have it explain to me what the bug is all about, right? In this case, in most cases, bugs are very simple. You just go, click, try to fix in here, and Lovable just gets a prompt from you which says, fix these issues for me, please, right? So if there's a snag like this, you can fix it with ease just by asking Lovable. That's the first part of the 4x4 framework, right? There's a problem, you ask Lovable to fix it. Plain and simple. And usually, as you can see in my case, remove the broken value, everything works exactly as it's supposed to, right? The app works again as it should be. Now, the second way to debug, because there are times when you would click to try to fix something, Lovable fixes it, but the problem persists. And most usually when this happens is when you are using a third-party dependency. I know that a lot of people these days talk about agents and automations, and when those two pop up together, the first thing that comes to mind is N8N, right? So when you use N8N, you have a completely separate workflow that Lovable is unaware of. So if something breaks in that workflow, your app may misfunction, but it's not something that is actually affected by or visible by Lovable, right? And in those cases, we deploy the second way, right? In the first way, Lovable doesn't require any guidance. You are basically just asking you to fix things. In the second way to fix, right, is where we are guiding it with a flashlight, right? You deploy or publish your project, right? This is very important because it allows you to do the console inspection, right, process. So I'm gonna basically show you that in this Builder Companion app, because honestly, I don't have an app that has a bug right now to show you. I'm just gonna show you how you should go about it. If there's something broken and you try to run a function that's not working, right-click, inspect, console, right? Right now, my console is empty because there are no errors to read and it's turned off, like it doesn't record anything. In your case, if you wanted to start recording things for you, all you would have to do is ask Lovable to introduce the console logs, to add console logging. And that's exactly what we're going to do here in the prompts, right? This is the first prompt that you would always post when you have a bug and Lovable cannot find it or cannot fix it, right? So let's actually do this in the Builder Companion app. All right, we're asking it to, before I even describe the problem, it should add something to the affected file. In this case, I didn't specify the file, so Lovable may ask me back which file I want to add the logging to. If not, it will just introduce it to the index page because this is a single page project that we used to work on, right? Now it's asking me to which file I wanted to add to. I will say add it to the main page index. All right, and it will add it in. And then when it adds it in, I'm going to publish and show you really quickly how to read the console logs. Again, now it added them in. And if I just go and update my app, it will allow me to actually read everything that's going on. And if there was a bug, that's exactly where I would be able to see it. Again, I wish I had an app that's broken, but honestly, these days, Lovable just works, and it's very difficult to break these systems. But I do acknowledge that some of you may experience problems, and I do want to give you a couple of ways to address them. This is one of them. Now, you can also, once that's done, paste this in, basically. That's kind of the workflow here. You add the console logs, you find the error code, and that's when you ask Lovable to explain to you what's causing it, what will change, what we'll need to do to fix it, and how can you verify that it's working. Again, you're just guiding it through this process. So first prompt, we add the console logs. Second prompt, we add the error code and ask Lovable to fix it. And most times that will just do the trick, right? So again, I don't have any problems here, but if I did, I would paste it in here. Let me see if the build propagated. It did, right? And now I can right click and inspect, and I should hopefully, as I'm clicking through stuff, be able to see what's up and what's going on. it added new stuff in it. Like, again, there are no errors, but I'm being tracked. My behavior is being tracked, and I'm giving signals as to what I'm doing inside here, right? Again, there was no bug for me to fix. What I'm trying to show you is the process and the way of thinking and the methodical approach of how you would address it if there was one, right? The important part, the most important part of this process is this one. When the bug fix works, if you tried multiple times, first thing you got to understand is why did things break in the first place? Most importantly, what should have you done to prevent it? Because it's your fault. It's always your fault. It's always my fault too. We're the malleable ones, not the AI. Either your request was too vague, too big, you made some mistake in the process, and it's fine. We are all humans, we make mistakes, right? You always need to ask AI to tell you how to fix it next time. And again, as we did before, document this in the rules and add any learnings and changes inside the changelog. And then when the fix is in, remove console logging statements, because you don't want to leave trails and breadcrumbs in your console log, because that can be read by anybody on the web. So you want to take that out completely, and then ask Lovable to do something really important, which is run end-to-end testing, right? Lovable now has that capability of running tests on your behalf. So that is something that we can do at any given point in time. Even when you don't have bugs, make sure to take advantage of this feature and let Lovable run end-to-end tests so that it can install everything it needs to and do a very powerful thing, which is launch its own browser within the app, which takes screenshots when needed, browses through your app on your behalf. And as you can see, I mean, Lovable is literally taking screenshots of my application and acknowledges that everything is working fine. Testing navigation. I mean, just look, Lovable is doing the whole thing. I'm not doing anything, right? So there's always an option once you've done debugging to let Lovable run all of these tests on your behalf, right? When you're trying to debug, same like building a product for the first time ever, there's a formula, how to write a good prompt in plan mode, chat mode, whatever you want to call it, to get to the most probable outcome and most probable solution. Always go with describing your issue clearly. What are you experiencing? What is the expected behavior versus the current one, right? And then ask it to check the changelog and check anything else that it should in order to be able to help you fix this problem, right? And then when it does, ask it to document it inside the changelog and include what broke, why it broke, and how we fixed it. Again, if you remember, we're making Lovable read this document every time, right? Same thing here. If you want to know how to prompt it better, why not build a prompt file, right? And then if you ever get stuck, just, before trying to switch to plan mode and analyze the code base, again, try to talk to Lovable about it. So that's way number 2. I mean, it does sound and seem pretty long, but it's basically try to fix it or explain the issue, help Lovable find it by introducing console logs, read them, paste them in, let Lovable fix it, ask it to give you the prompt to fix it next time, save it in a separate file, update the changelog, update everything, set it inside the rules so that this issue never repeats itself again. The third way is basically consulting a second opinion. Sometimes, again, you can set up systems correctly as much as you want. There's a snag, there's something in the memory, there's something in that recency bias that is making Lovable incapable simply of fixing your problem without you intervening a little bit more. In those situations, what I will do is I would go to ChatGPT, right? And then in ChatGPT, I would, in most times, describe the problem that I'm experiencing. Again, very similar formula like so far. You're describing the issue, you're downloading the entire files that are affected, right? And to do that in Lovable, you can, as you can see, the end-to-end testing passed, everything works fine. If it didn't, I would go in here, and if I found that one of the files broken, you can either copy the file content or download the entire file onto your computer and basically come in here and attach a file that was broken and say, this is the problem that I'm experiencing, this is the file that's corrupted, and the way to know which file was corrupted is simply by, when you go back to the project where you had the bug in the first place, you would be able, let's see, if we go to the dashboard here, if I click on the logs, again, I was able to introduce it, I would be able to try and find which file specifically was broken because there's a file name in here, right? And I could say, copy this, go to ChatGPT, and then say, this is the bug that I'm experiencing. I'm not technical. Can you provide me with a prompt or instructions on how I can fix this issue? If you need to, please tell me if you need a file that I would need to upload from my application. Again, think of it the same way as when you work with Lovable. You're just trying to give an external tool more context about the application, right? This is not a deep technical failure, obviously. And ChatGPT here is just explaining everything to me and explaining me what's wrong and giving me a prompt. So in this case, it really didn't need it, but it was dashboard.tsx, right? That's the broken file. So I could have just said, okay, I wanted this. So you go and you copy the prompt, and you go to the app, and instead of clicking on this button for the millionth time or whatever, you basically prompt Lovable to do it for you. Again, these bugs are very simple. We're so early in these apps. I wish I had an app that I kept on breaking and fixing so that I would be able to show you this, but this is pretty much what it is. So that's the third way, right? And the final way and the fourth way is the simplest one in the book, really, which is reverting. Whenever there's a problem, again, remember, it was likely induced either by AI stumbling on a small rock and tripping itself along the way, or you just misprompting it, just making a request that wasn't valid in the first place. The easiest fix by far is just going back, finding a version in our version control history, if you remember, and just clicking to revert to that version. Don't try to arm wrestle with AI. It's just much stronger than you, much smarter. Just take a step back, pause, reprompt, right? So that's the fourth way. The fourth way of fixing is not fixing things at all. It's actually taking a step back in order to be able to take more steps forward, right? In an ideal world, actually, you would take one step forward, try one fix. If it doesn't work, go back. Don't even try to proceed forward even further. Just go back, try a different thing. Go back, try a different thing. Ideally, you're not making any forward motion until you've cleared your build out of any of the issues that it has in it, right? Here are some of the prompts that I'm going to leave you with. And again, some resources that I have for you. Prompting for debugging, troubleshooting guides from Lovable, browser testing documentation, and everything else. Lovable debugging prompt wizard. If you want to educate yourself how to build debugging prompts, I've built. This is a pretty old but still useful prompt wizard as a custom GPT. And you also have this basically mini debugging prompt builder which you can use in this builder companion and just do one of the four things. Try to fix it, guide with evidence, escalate, or revert. I do hope that setting up the systems the way we've done it so far will no longer require you to do this, and that your app will be a clean, smooth build that will allow you to just continue forward and go into day 13, which is super important day. You saw that even though I didn't have bugs, I did have some security issues in my application. And I want to tackle that next and show you how to fix these. See you tomorrow.